The Kimberly Magic Academy is a school where only 20% of the students manage to graduate. Oliver is one of the new students, making his way to the entrance ceremony. But on his way, something strange happens. A flower was following and talking to him. The flower mentioned that he looked nervous to join the school. The flower advised him to relax for the day, because he will find true pain until he graduates, if he manages to. Oliver thanks it for the advice and the flower left. He considered the flower's words, and considers that it was something they always do to scare new students. But he still couldn't be sure, as he doesn't really know what to expect in the future. He then notices a girl named Katie worried by the flower's words. A guy named Guy, no cap that's his name, then appears and tells Katie to not mind the flower's words. He reveals that flowers' personalities get affected when they absorb magic particles from the ground, and that most of them have a nasty personality. Katie replies that she doesn't know about plants because she's more into magical animals. Guy gets curious and asks which animal is her favorite. At this point, he's just hitting on her. She replies she loves every animal, maybe she also loves him. Then Oliver hears Michella interrupting Pete, the bookworm. This girl tells the guy to be careful because he almost stepped on a plant, and then proceeds to insult the plant, forcing it to retreat. Pete turns out to be a tsundere, who doesn't need her help. And then Hibia dressed in a kimono appears. The plant tries to pick on her, but she ignores it. But everyone around, including Oliver, is surprised to see a samurai here. Somehow, he starts getting a vision of crossing blades with her and thinks that he felt something in his heart. He guesses that it must be fate, especially when she turns away and smiles at him. Nobody could believe what was happening after entering the school gate. There was a magical monster parade. There were griffins, salamanders, and even a bloody dragon. Oliver found it mesmerizing, while Guy was left stunned by the sight. Oliver told him that it was a Fafnir, impressing him with his knowledge. But Katie wasn't happy. There was a troll walking in the parade, and she feels like it was wrong. Guy is confused because trolls don't speak their language and sometimes attack people. But Katie gets mad. She yells that trolls are kind creatures and only attack because humans invade their territories. They start throwing at each other. At this point, just get a room. Guy tells that trolls invade his country and mess up the fields. Katie goes back at him, but Pete tells them to shut up because he needs to read. The two apologize, and Olive takes advantage to talk to them, telling them that they could discuss their point of view later. They agree, and when they're about to introduce themselves, something strange happens. A random hooded girl decides to cast a spell on Katie, restraining her legs and making her run toward the parade. Olive and Guy tell her to stop running, but she reveals that she can't. They realize it's a spell and follow up to help her. Michella checks the situation with Pete and realizes that the troll is also moving toward Katie. The troll suddenly went into a frenzy, attacking those nearby. Katie's legs finally stopped and she fell. The troll noticed her and approached her, preparing his arm to punch her. However, Hibia appeared behind Katie and shouted at the troll, scaring it. Hibia instructed Katie to stand behind her since her legs were still numb and took out her sword. Meanwhile, the others rushed towards them, attempting to distract the troll, as Hibia alone wouldn't stand a chance. Michella launched a spell at the troll to divert its attention, but it remained unfazed. They weren't strong enough yet to deal with it. Yet, Oliver had an idea. He urged everyone to cast a wind spell together on the same spot. Michella said that a wind spell won't do anything, but Oliver told them to trust him and do it. Michella, Pete, and Guy follow his plan and cast their wind spells in the same place. He added his own spell, transforming their spells into a dragon's roar that caught the troll's attention, scaring it. Michella was astonished by Oliver's spell, and he shouted at Hibia to run away, but she jumped onto the troll, and suddenly, her hair suddenly turned white. With a swift slash, she defeated the troll. Oliver realized that she used innocent color, which only mages with strong magic can do it. Hibia couldn't even believe she has just done that. Her body was tingling from the clash, but she assured Katie that she would carry her. She thanks the rest for their assistance, which had created an opening. Inside the school, all the students gathered in the hallway, waiting anxiously for the ceremony. They ended up separated, but Oliver ended up by Hibia's side. He finds out that she didn't have a plan when she tried to confront the troll. She laughs it off and explains her katana doesn't even have a cutting edge. He explains that if their spell didn't scare the troll, she would have died, but thinks she will have luck in life because someone already saved her on the first day. Suddenly, they were asked to be silent as the headmistress arrived. She was the famous witch Esmeralda of Kimberly. Esmeralda apologized for the earlier incident and addressed the students. They will be learning here for the next 7 years, and they will have 2 priorities, freedom and results, which means they can die at any moment. She informs them about the low graduate rate due to the strange encounters that students often face at the academy. These encounters could be becoming a cripple, going missing, or even going mad and killing other students. Basically, she welcomes them to a madhouse. After the address, Hibia raised her hand to speak, and the headmistress granted her permission. Turns out this girl is recommending a method to relieve the headmistress's headache by massaging pressure points. The headmistress ignored her suggestion and instructed the students to proceed to the welcoming banquet. With a flick of her hands, the students floated up and found themselves seated in chairs in front of a grand banquet table filled with delicious food. Oliver reunited with the group he had been separated from and expressed his gratitude once again for their earlier help. Michella suggested that they introduce themselves, but they had to wait for Katie. Suddenly, Katie descended from the ceiling and Hibia saved her. With the group now complete, they proceeded with introductions. Michella introduced herself, the eldest daughter of the noble McFarlane family, and told them they could call her Chella. And of course, your boy Guy takes the chance to hit on her. Katie introduced herself as an exchange student from Farnland who had a passion for animals. Then it was Guy's turn, from a family that had run a magic farm for generations. In Pete's turn, he explains that his parents had no magical lineage and didn't want to make any friends. But he got hyped up when Oliver mentioned that he knows the book Pete's reading. It was Oliver's turn, and he shared his family's long lineage of mages and his expertise in arranging and adapting spells. Chella praised the impressive dragon spell he had cast. Finally, it was Hibia's turn, and she introduced herself as a member of a warrior's family. She revealed that she was attending the academy because a mage named McFarlane saved her from the brink of death years ago. The name made them all realize that it was Chella's father, who served as a lecturer at the academy. Chella couldn't believe that her father had gone as far as Azia to scout for talent. As they settled down to eat the food on their table, laughter and smiles filled the air. Oliver woke up the next day to the sound of the clock knockers playing their mischievous pranks, messing around with the clock needles. Glancing around the room, he noticed that Pete was still asleep. Oliver headed outside when he was greeted by someone hiding and asking if something was bothering him. He holds onto his sword, replying that he was taking a look around while it's still quiet. He asks for the person's identity, but she replies that his brother sent her to watch over him. Oliver thinks this is too much, but she replies that his brother is worried about him. He asks if she will follow around, and she replies with a yes. He then asks for her name, and she reveals herself to be Teresa. She then tells him that if needs something, he just needs to call for her. Oliver continues his walk, and with the sunrise, he finds Hibia taking a bath in the school fountain. He notices her back filled with scars and the lack of shame on her face. I'm also ignoring common sense. He takes out his wand and casts a curtain spell around the fountain. He tells that she cannot take a bath there because every guy can see her from the window. She explains that she's purifying herself from the blood bath of the last war she was in. He asks about her scars, and she apologizes for the unpleasant view. He looks at her once more and remembers a similar scene that happened in his past. He gets back to reality and tells her to hurry up. But since she doesn't have a towel, he gives her his jacket and realizes that they are connected by fate. Watch this next video. See you on the next one.